Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're going way back to 1914
Oh, wow. Okay.
to crack open How to Promote Yourself, a book by Wallace D. Wattles.
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, it's all about achieving success, but
Yeah.
he ties it to these natural laws of advancement and abundance.
Okay. Interesting.
So, I mean, right off the bat, I was intrigued. Were you?
Absolutely, yeah. One thing that really stood out to me was how Wattles doesn't frame success as this
Like some random fluky thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just luck, you know? He presents it almost like, well,
Formula
yeah, almost like a formula, or at least a set of principles.
that you can actively work with.
Exactly, yeah. It's not about just hoping for the best. It's more
Okay.
about understanding, like, the mechanics of how to get where you want to be.
Totally. He lays out some really interesting ideas.
Oh, well, like what?
Things like more than filling your place, this whole concept of the advancing thought. And
Okay, I'm listening.
he makes this really bold claim that talking about poverty, like, actually keeps you stuck there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how these ideas, though.
Written over a century ago.
Yeah, exactly. Over a century ago, and still, somehow,
They still resonate.
yes. They really challenge our assumptions about how success works, even today.
Okay, so to dive right in, one thing Waddle talks about is this business attitude, this way of approaching things. But what do you think he means by that? Is he saying we all need to become these like
Cutthroat entrepreneurs?
Yeah, is that it?
Not necessarily, no. I think it's more about understanding that success is an effect.
Okay.
It's a direct result of certain causes. Just like in physics, there are underlying principles.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And if you want to succeed, you have to understand those.
You have to work with those principles.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you can't play the game well if
You don't know the rules.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, I like that.
And a big part of this business attitude he talks about,
Okay.
it comes down to self-direction.
Oh.
He really distinguishes between people who are, let's say, directed by suggestion. So,
By their environment.
yeah, by
Right.
their circumstances, or even things like,
Like horoscopes.
yeah, versus people who are self-directing,
Oh, interesting.
like the ones who forge their own path.
So the people who just like,
They make things happen.
yeah, they make things happen no matter what.
Regardless of the obstacles, yeah.
Yeah, they have that.
They have that internal compass guiding them.
Oh, I like that internal compass.
And that ties directly into another core idea from Wattles,
Which is,
the power of desire.
ooh, okay.
But he's not talking about,
Just fleeting wishes.
yeah, not fleeting wishes, not like, oh, it'd be nice to.
Right.
He's talking about a deep, intense desire.
A burning desire.
Yes, for what you want to achieve.
He's very specific about that intensity, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not a maybe someday kind of thing. It's like,
This is what I'm going for.
yes.
That kind of energy.
And this is where it gets really interesting because
Okay, tell me.
Wattles actually suggests that this intense desire, just the fact that you have it,
Yeah.
is evidence that you have the potential to achieve it.
So it's like the universe is giving you a clue.
It's like a little whisper saying, hey, you want this. You can actually make it happen.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
So our desires themselves are like,
A roadmap to our potential.
yeah, this reminds me a lot of
What we hear about these days.
about manifestation, the law of attraction.
Absolutely. And Wattles goes a step further, he says.
He says what?
You need to form a clear mental picture.
Of your desired outcome.
Yes. Visualize yourself already having what you want. Feel those emotions.
It's not enough to just want it
No, you have to see it, feel it.
and hold that image consistently.
Like you're sending a blueprint out to the universe.
Okay, so not just wishing, but setting the stage.
Now let's connect this back to that idea Wattles brought up.
The more than filling your place thing.
Exactly. You'd think just meeting expectations would be enough, but
But she has true promotion.
in any area of life,
Comes from exceeding expectations.
it's about going above and beyond.
Okay, but wouldn't that make you stand out? Especially in a competitive world.
Think about it in terms of evolution.
Okay.
Advancement favors those who not only survive, but thrive, right?
Right.
They push the boundaries, they innovate.
So it's not just about doing the bare minimum.
No, it's about exceeding expectations to really grow.
That's a great point. But how can we, like, as listeners,
Yeah.
apply this concept? Like, is it about taking on every extra project?
It's more about the mindset.
The mindset. Okay.
Yeah, even something simple like, say, selling sugar
Okay.
can be imbued with what Wattles calls an advancing thought.
An advancing thought. What is that? That sounds pretty philosophical for sugar.
Right. But it's about approaching everything with a sense of growth and potential.
So not just selling the pound of sugar.
No, you're envisioning them as a future bulk buyer,
Oh, interesting.
projecting that possibility in your interactions.
I like that. He actually uses that example in the book, right?
He does, yeah. It's like a child buying penny candy.
You see them as a future bulk buyer.
Yeah. You're shifting your perspective to see growth potential everywhere.
Okay, so cultivate that growth mindset.
Yes.
And transmit it.
Transmit it.
Yeah, to others.
Okay. Now, this next idea, I have to say,
What is it?
it might be a bit controversial,
Yeah.
especially these days, but Wattles argues that true success
Through success.
comes from rejecting competition.
Whoa, okay.
What do you think of that? Honestly, my first reaction was,
Skepticism.
yes. How can you succeed without competing? That's like,
A recipe for disaster.
it seems like it, yeah.
Well, he's not saying to be passive or just let others walk all over you.
Okay.
His point is the very idea of competition comes from
It comes from
this belief in limited resources.
scarcity mindset.
Exactly. He's saying that nature, human ingenuity,
They offer infinite potential.
infinite potential for abundance.
Okay, I see where he's going with this, but
But realistically, resources are finite.
sometimes, yeah.
So how does this play out when you're, say, applying for one of a limited number of jobs?
Well, he breaks it down by looking at,
The essentials.
the 5 essentials for life.
Oh, like food, clothing.
Shelter, education, and amusement.
Right.
And he argues that each of these, they have the potential to be abundant.
So it's about like,
Shifting our perspective on what's possible.
yeah, I like that.
Sick.
So this is where I found another point where Wattles, he kind of,
He contradicts himself.
it seems like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about abundance, but then he...
Acknowledges realities like a limited money supply.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How does that fit with rejecting competition and this...
This infinite pie idea.
Yeah.
It's a great question, and I think it gets to his deeper message.
Which is?
It's not about ignoring those practical realities, but about aligning yourself.
Aligning yourself...
With what?
With what he calls the mind of things.
The mind of things.
Okay.
It's about working for the advancement of all, recognizing that individual needs...
They're met as part of this larger good.
Yeah, like a rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, I like that analogy.
And Wattles also points out that true value, it goes beyond just money.
Right. It's not just about the price tag.
An item's power to enhance life, it's what he calls its life-giving power.
Okay.
That might be worth far more than what it costs.
That's a really good point, especially now when everything seems to have a price.
Right.
Okay, now for the part that I have to be honest,
Yeah.
this one blew my mind a little bit.
Really? Okay, tell me.
Wattles claims that talking about poverty actually perpetuates it.
Wow. Okay.
How can that be?
It ties back into the power of thought. He's suggesting that focusing on lack, even with good intentions, can actually...
Attract more lack?
Yeah, dwelling on poverty, complaining about it.
It reinforces those negative thought patterns?
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So his advice, even when things are tough, is to
focus.
Focus your thoughts, your conversations on wealth and abundance,
Okay.
on the good that's coming, even if it seems far off.
So not denying the hardships, but choosing where to direct your energy.
Exactly. It's a subtle but powerful shift.
It really makes you examine your own self-talk, doesn't it?
Yeah. Are you focusing on what you lack?
Or are you putting your energy towards what you want to create?
It's a lifelong practice, but even small changes can have a big impact.
That's what's so remarkable about this book, I think.
Yeah.
It challenges how we think,
Yeah.
and it pushes us to tap into a deeper
A more abundant source of power.
within ourselves.
So what are your thoughts so far? What's resonating with you?
You know, I'm really drawn to this idea of talk that builds, that focusing on the positive can create real change.
Interesting.
It's a real mind shift for me, and I'm also really curious to explore this concept of the mind of things more.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It feels like a key to unlocking that abundance Wattles keeps talking about.
It is. The mind of things is all about connecting to a deeper intelligence, a universal force.
That governs growth and abundance.
Exactly.
So it's not just about individual effort, but tapping into something larger. Are we getting into
Spiritual territory?
Yeah, a little bit, right?
In a way, yes. Wattles was influenced by the New Thought movement,
Okay.
which emphasizes the power of mind and spirit.
This is where things get really interesting.
Right.
We're going beyond just practical advice and into a whole different way of seeing the world.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're not separate from this mind of things, but rather we're an integral part of it.
Oh, okay.
And when we align with its principles,
Yeah.
we tap into a power that can transform our lives.
That is a powerful idea. And one I think we need to unpack further next time.
I agree. There's a lot more to explore here.
We've only just scratched the surface of Wattles' wisdom.
We have, and it's already pretty mind-blowing.
No, right.
So much to think about.
Until next time, deep divers.
Keep those minds open.
And keep striving for that abundance.
We'll be back to dive even deeper soon.
See you then.
Bye for now. So, picking up where we left off.
Right. The mind of things.
You were really interested in that and how it all ties into achieving success.
It's a fascinating concept, but I'm still a little fuzzy on how we actually do that,
Like practically speaking.
Yeah. Does Wattles give us any concrete steps?
Oh, he does, yeah. He's all about taking action, but it's not just blind action.
Right. He's not saying just go out there and randomly do stuff.
Exactly. He's saying that our actions, they need to be informed by a deeper understanding of these natural laws, of how this mind of things actually works.
So it's about, working with the universe, not against it?
Exactly. Understanding its principles and then aligning our actions accordingly.
Okay, that makes sense. And one of those key principles is that the mind of things is all about growth and expansion. Right.
Yes. It's constantly seeking to create more, to evolve, to push boundaries.
And we as individuals are part of that.
We are. But here's the thing.
What's that?
We have to consciously choose to participate in that growth.
It's not just automatic.
It's not just going to happen on its own, no. We have to actively cultivate that advancing thought in everything we do.
So we're co-creating with the universe.
Exactly. We're not just sitting back and waiting for good things to happen.
Right.
We're actively shaping our reality by aligning our thoughts and actions with this larger force.
Oh, I'm starting to get this, I think.
Good.
Remember that sugar example?
Oh, yeah, from earlier.
It's not just about the transaction itself. It's about
seeing the potential for growth in every interaction.
Yeah. It's about that mindset.
Exactly. So how does this apply to your work, your relationships, even your own personal development? Are you approaching things as static, or are you actively looking for ways to grow and expand?
That's a good question.
Right.
Okay, so I get the mindset piece, but what about when we're facing limitations? Let's say you're in a job where there's not much room for advancement, or you're facing a financial setback.
Those are tough situations, yeah.
So how do you apply these principles then, when things seem so fixed?
That's where the power of thought comes in, I think.
Oh.
Remember, Wattles, he really emphasized that our thoughts,
they shape our reality.
Yes. So even if your current job seems limited, you can still
what?
You can still cultivate that advancing thought by focusing on improving your skills, deepening your knowledge, or even just finding ways to contribute more value in your current role.
So even if the external situation isn't changing right away,
you're creating an internal shift.
That sets the stage for new opportunities.
Exactly. You're becoming what Wattles calls the man who can.
The man who can.
He's talking about the person who's prepared, resourceful, always learning, always growing. Those opportunities, they'll show up.
They'll show up.
Because you've aligned yourself with that principle of growth.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
And it ties back into what we were talking about earlier.
About
the power of desire.
Right.
You have that deep desire for something, and you're actively cultivating that advancing thought.
It's like you're sending a signal to the universe.
Yeah. And then the universe
So it conspires to bring it to you.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, what about visualization?
Yes, visualization.
Wattles talks about that too, right?
He does, yeah. He says, don't just vaguely wish for something.
Okay.
Create a clear picture in your mind.
Of what you want.
Yes. Feel the emotions as if you already have it. It's about aligning your mind.
With the mind of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And setting that creative process in motion.
So it's not just positive thinking. It's like
you're actively shaping your reality.
Through your thoughts and actions.
Precisely. Now, another key piece here, and it might seem simple, but Wattles really emphasized it.
What's that?
Gratitude.
Gratitude, okay.
It might seem basic, but he believed it was absolutely foundational to achieving real success.
I can see how that fits in, though.
How so?
If you're always focused on what you don't have.
You're blocking the flow.
Yeah, you're blocking the flow of good things coming into your life.
Exactly. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So how do we practically cultivate this gratitude?
It's about developing a genuine sense of appreciation for what you already have, even the small things.
Like what?
Notice the beauty around you, appreciate the kindness of others, acknowledge your own strengths.
It's like training yourself to see the abundance that's already there.
Yes. And it's not just about feeling grateful internally, it's about expressing it outwardly, too.
Like how?
Thank people, acknowledge their contributions, celebrate their successes.
Oh, interesting.
It's like you're amplifying the good.
By acknowledging it.
Exactly. And you're sending a signal to the universe that says, hey, more of this, please.
Okay, I like that.
Now, there's one more crucial element Wattles talks about, and I know this word can be a bit loaded for some people, but
That's that.
faith.
Okay.
I know. It's a big word.
It can mean different things to different people.
Exactly. But in this context, I don't think he's talking about blind faith or religious dogma.
Right.
He's talking about a deep trust.
Trust in.
In the power of the mind of things, in the inherent goodness of the universe, and in your own ability to achieve what you desire.
So it's about believing that the universe has your back, even when things are tough.
Yes. And it's about believing in yourself, in your dreams.
And taking action based on that belief.
Even if you don't have all the answers figured out yet.
Right, because faith without action is...
meaningless, right.
Yeah.
Wattles was very clear about that. He emphasized the importance of consistent effort, of taking those steps toward your goals, no matter how small they might seem.
So it's about acting from a place of certainty, not from doubt or fear.
Exactly. And when you do that, you create this powerful momentum that propels you forward.
It's like tapping into a force that's bigger than yourself and letting it guide you.
I love that image.
This is all so powerful, but it's a lot to absorb.
It is. It's like he's asking us to rewire our whole way of thinking about success.
To see the world through a different lens.
That's exactly what he's doing. But that's what makes his work so compelling, I think.
So if we really want to promote ourselves in the way Wattles describes, where do we start? What's the first step?
Awareness, I think.
Awareness.
Of what?
Of your thoughts.
Okay.
Notice the stories you're telling yourself, the beliefs you're holding on to. Are they aligned with abundance and growth, or are they rooted in scarcity and limitation?
So it's like taking a step back and just observing those thought patterns.
Yes, without judgment.
Okay.
And once you're aware of them, then you can start to challenge those limiting beliefs.
And replace them with something better.
More aligned with what you want to create.
That's where those tools come in, right? The visualization, the gratitude, the affirmations.
Exactly. They're all about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance.
It's like we're putting together a puzzle.
All these concepts, they're the pieces, and they fit together to create a more complete picture of success.
That's a great analogy. It's a holistic approach.
It is. It's about our thoughts, our actions, and our connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Wattles' work is so powerful.
It is. It reminds us that we're not victims of our circumstances. We're creators of our own reality.
We have the power to promote ourselves to a life of abundance and joy.
This has been a truly insightful conversation. Thank you for guiding us through these ideas.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, this is just the beginning.
Right. The journey continues.
Keep exploring these principles, keep applying them, and keep promoting yourself to the life you deserve.
All right, deep divers, welcome back for the final part of our exploration of how to promote yourself.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. So much insightful stuff packed into this little book.
Wattles really knew what he was talking about.
He did. And in our last segment, we're getting into some of those practical applications.
Right, like how to actually put these principles into practice.
Exactly. So we're talking about aligning ourselves with the mind of things, cultivating that advancing thought, and using tools like visualization and gratitude.
All powerful stuff.
But I'm really curious to hear some more concrete examples, like how do we actually implement these ideas in our day-to-day lives?
Well, one of the most practical pieces of advice Wattles gives is to more than fill your place.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that earlier.
It's not just about meeting expectations, it's about exceeding them.
Right, going above and beyond.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how can we apply that in our work, relationships, our personal pursuits?
It makes me think of those people who, they go the extra mile at work, not because they're trying to get a promotion or anything.
Right, not for the recognition.
But because they genuinely want to contribute more, to make a real difference.
Exactly. It's about bringing that sense of excellence and dedication to everything you do, regardless of the task or the reward.
So it's not about external validation, it's more about...
operating from an internal sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Integrity. Exactly. It's about finding that fulfillment in the act of creation, in the process of growth and expansion.
And this applies to, like, all areas of life, right?
Yeah.
Not just work.
Absolutely. Your relationships, your hobbies, everything.
Okay, so how would you apply this more than filling your place idea in, say, a personal relationship?
Well, think about it this way. It could be as simple as really listening to your partner,
Oh, okay.
expressing your appreciation, going the extra mile to make them feel loved and supported.
So it's about those consistent actions that show you care,
Exactly. It's about choosing to act from a place of love and generosity.
not from a place of need or scarcity.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about being a conscious contributor to the relationship, not just expecting the other person to meet all your needs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a two-way street for sure.
And it's not about, grand gestures or trying to be perfect all the time.
Oh, it's those small, consistent actions that really build a strong foundation.
It's those little things that add up over time, right?
They do. It's like you're creating this ripple effect of positive energy.
And that brings us back to what we were talking about earlier, the power of our thoughts to shape our reality.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
If we're constantly focused on what we lack, on what's missing,
We're actually creating more of that.
we're perpetuating it.
Exactly. But if we can shift our focus to abundance, to gratitude, to the good that's already present,
Then we start to see more of that in our lives.
and that's where those tools like visualization and affirmations come in.
Oh yeah, tell me more about those.
They're like mental exercises to reprogram our subconscious minds,
Yeah.
to shift our default setting from scarcity to abundance,
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's like
actively shaping our thoughts and beliefs.
to align with what we want to create.
Exactly. But it's important to remember this is an ongoing process.
Okay, why is that?
Because our minds are constantly generating thoughts.
They never stop.
Right. So we have to be vigilant about choosing the ones that serve us.
So it's like we're the gardeners of our own minds.
That's a great analogy. We get to choose which seeds we want to nurture, which ones we allow to take root.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is. Wattles' work, it's a constant reminder that we are creators of our own reality.
And we have the power to promote ourselves, to create the life we truly want.
It's an invitation to step into our power.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
I've enjoyed it too.
I'm walking away with a renewed sense of, agency. Like I can actually shape my own destiny.
That's amazing. And remember, this is just the beginning of the journey.
Right. There's always more to learn and explore.
I encourage you to keep diving into these ideas, keep experimenting, and keep promoting yourself to the life you deserve.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring how to promote yourself with you.
Thank you all for joining us, and until next time, keep those minds open and keep striving for that abundance.
We'll see you next time, Deep Divers.